I think that's enough of that.
Silliness.
Welcome back to MTV. It's time for another one of our little specials.
It is. We're doing our 15.2 prep video.
15.2 is a very different beast to the other dungeons. For starters, you don't actually have to do 15.2 if you don't want to. However, if you want to try the epic NPC fight or access the void areas, the void, then you'll need to, because it is the only way to get time essence. Now, to do 15.2, you need a godly sword and at least 2000 coolness. Godly sword means godly loot box, 12 omegas and 10 dragon essence. So, let's break down what you need for those.
Well, dragon essence comes from winning dungeons 1 through 9 with a pet with the fighter skill on it. The fighter skill comes automatically when you rank a pet up to T10 and ranks as you tier up. Each rank of fighter increases your chance of getting a dragon essence from the dungeon, but only the highest rank applies. So you don't think you need multiple tier 10 pets. The one doesn't increase your chances, only the one of them does.
Yep. Godly loot box can drop randomly. Can. In over a year of play, neither of us has actually seen one drop. So don't go assuming that you're going to get one. However, you do need to plan around the possibility one might. The most reliable way to get a godly loot box is to buy one in the Time Jump shop, which will cost a whopping 6,500 points.
That's a lot of points. But that's not all you need. The last thing you'll need is that 2000 coolness. Even better, 2500 coolness. This is often done using an Ultraining run, and this is the biggest time investment you're going to make for getting 15.2. And honestly, probably the biggest time investment that you have made since fighting towards Ascension.
This is a painful grind. No two ways about it, not going to sugarcoat it. But anyway, let's talk about the Ultraining command itself. When you use the Ultraining command, you face against the epic NPC, and you can pick one of 3 options: attack, block, or atlock. Atlock. It's rock, paper, scissors, and it compares your stats against the epic NPC stats. There is a known formula for the NPC stat increase, which means that there is a known way to calculate how high your own stats need to be to win.
But we're not here to do a math class this time. Watch our pet videos for math classes. So the short version is that if your stats are equal to that of the NPCs, you have a roughly 50% chance of beating him. If you're finding that you're losing more than 50% of the time, you've capped out on your Ultraining and you need to give yourself more stats if you can.
Once you've done this a couple of times, it makes sense. You'll get comfortable winning, you'll get comfortable using the command. We recommend doing Ultraining at the top of your 15.1 runs for a while. Do them while you're collecting your scales until you cap out on Ultraining. This should get you somewhere around 100 stages of Ultraining complete while you're getting ready for your actual Ultraining run.
Which now brings us to actually preparing and doing an Ultraining run. There, you're going to want to have a few things lined up before you jump into this Ultraining run. Firstly, forget about time travelling for a good few weeks. This run requires commitment. It is a grind, and a long grind at that.
To get 2000 coolness from Ultraining alone, assuming you had none from any other sources, you would need to train 1000 times without a donator cooldown. This is 1000 times 15 minutes. Or 10 days straight of training cooldowns without sleep.
There's a few things you can do to help this process along a little bit. Firstly, you're going to want to have an ascended pet with at least a few ranks on it. This is because when you're Ultraining, you aren't running regular training commands, so you're not getting pets. So at least if you have an ascended pet, you're going to be passively bringing in pets to keep your collection going. You also need to have collected 10 dragon essence at a minimum. This isn't a necessary thing, it's a good to have in case you miraculously have a godly loot box drop during your run, so that you can convert it into a 15-2 run. You also want a decent guild level. Guild levels help with duel wings. You should be trying to get at least 10 levels out of a duel wing.
You are also going to need, and this is not optional, a tier 9 horse at a minimum. Ideally, tier 10, but don't go waiting for tier 10 just for your Ultraining run. However, your horse really, really, really needs magic. The buff from magic is huge. Do wait around until you've got that magic horse and then guard it with your life. Yep. Buy your horse tokens, save magic.
The other thing is waiting until you're high enough TT. Being TT 40 plus is really helpful because by that point you'll sped up your mat collection dramatically and it'll take a little bit less time. And the last thing you need is probably another reason that you're doing later TTs really, is you're going to need some dosh. You're going to need at least 100 billion as a good start for your enchanting of your gear.
So, let's get started on an Ultraining run. Mm-hmm. First things first, you're going to need to figure out how many levels of Ultraining you're actually planning to do. There's a really useful planning sheet, which we'll link in the description. It's on Google Sheets, so make a copy of it before you make any edits.
A very, very coarse estimate says that if you want to reach stage 1000, you have a T9 horse, you only go for godly enchants on your gear, you think you're going to get to level 1500 by the end of the run, then you'll need to be cooking about 2,200 apple juice rounded. So you need 36 million logs on top of the regular mats that you need for your run.
That means that you need 2.1 million A3 fish, plus your usual 800k for the run. So let's call that a cool 3 million fish. You can reduce that a lot by having tier 10 horse, going for void enchants instead of godly, and maximising the level that you go for to, 2,000, 2,500. At that point it comes down to 950k area 3 fish, which makes the total needed a much more reasonable 1.7 million fish.
You're going to be at A3 getting fish for a while. So, we start off our run in our usual way. You buy Ultra Logs in the Time Jump Shop, and then you take a quick pause to add to the question, how's your coin? If you craft Edgy Sword now, you can enchant it in A1 for A1 prices, which works out to be about 10% of the cost. But it means you do need to farm for more logs.
From now on, once you've started this run, every training cooldown is Ultraining. The usual story applies, move through to A3, keep farming, duel on cooldown, and if you can, find yourself a duel partner who is also doing an Ultraining run, because it'll make your life a lot easier when you're starting to get up to those really high levels. Mm-hmm.
If you've made sure you've got 10 Dragon Essence, now's the time you want to start saving your Omega loot boxes, for the just in case of godly drops. If it does, you'll be able to convert this into a 15.2 run as well.
So, you're in A15, now it's time to settle in for the long haul. This is where you craft up your apple juices. I went for about 1 to 2k above the current stage, then alt-trained until I got to those stats, and then repeated that. It broke up the run a lot, which is really important. You need milestones, because otherwise you are doing nothing but Ultraining with nothing to look forward to. So, make those milestones. This is one way to do it. Good luck if you decide to do this. Mm-hmm. You're going to need a whole lot of patience and persistence, because once you're committed to the run, if you abort it, you've just wasted all that time that you have to get those stats back up again. But it will pay off in the long term by giving you access to the absolute top-end content available in the game at the moment. The Endest game. The Void. The Void.
I've been the Violet Bombshell. Bye.
Bye. Ding dong. Hello, my name is InGame Chat.
So, you've made it to Endgame. One thing to do first is get yourself onto the Endgame General Chat on the official Epic RPG server.
In Endgame, you'll get access to a lot of useful pins, which we draw on for making our videos.
Yep.
Resources, and a whole bunch of really helpful and awesome and interesting people, including
Big Addy, the pet master.
Lanwell, the shipping love-hate relationship of Endgame.
Eki, the mean fox, who is also the nice fox.
Nanachito, the Nexus dev and emoji bender.
Necrodancer, the one who is the Matrix.
Platano, Loom Troll.
And many, many more. I know both of us now.
Yeah, us. We are in Endgame as well. So if you want to come say hi, come chat to us there. That's Epic RPG official server. Enough with advertising. Let's talk about 15.2.